Good afternoon and welcome. I have with me the great and amazing Tony Contreras from Comicare, known very commonly as AZ Tony Stark. Tony is going to be giving us some background on Comicare, one of the two foundations that we will be supporting for our 2023 fundraiser. And one of my favorites. I've worked with Tony and Comicare in the past. We've supported them in the past, and the group just does some amazing work. So, Tony, ready to go? Let's start firing away. Tell us a little bit about your organization. What is Comicare?
Basically, Comicare is a comic book delivery service. I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's what we do. We deliver the comic books as the heroes, but really what we're doing is we're delivering these comic books to children who are in long-term critical care. In some cases, they're there for months at a time. We're giving them something to do to pass the time. Honestly, when we started Comicare about 10 years ago, I wasn't sure kids still liked comic books because I know they love iPads. I know they love, their Xboxes. I wasn't sure if comic books were still something that I knew that they loved the animated movies and series and that type of thing. But what we found is that kids don't just like comic books still, they love comic books still. And for the children, when we drop off comic books, it's actually even gotten them out of their rooms because they're going, and after we leave, they're reading their comic books and they're trading comic books between rooms, and it's really been fun to watch. I've been blessed, I really have, to be firsthand on site to see some of these children and how they react to the comic books and how they react to the heroes when we go in.
Awesome. Now, you said that you deliver as the heroes. Now, we know you're heroes because you're bringing comic books and toys to sick kids in hospitals, but expand on that. What do you mean you go as the heroes?
When we have the heroes, we'll see someone at a con who has not just a great look, but I watch how they interact with children, how they interact with the adults that come up to them. I'm not looking for someone who is a great Spider-Man. I'm looking for someone who's a great Spider-Man that has people skills, so that when Spider-Man shows up to the hospital, it's Spider-Man at the hospital. I don't have to worry about what he's going to say. I know he's going to be great with the kids. I know he's going to be great with the staff. And that's we cast our heroes. And I take a lot of pride in that. And over the years, we've gotten a little bit of flack saying, they don't just take it. I've been trying to be in Comicare for years, and that's great. Really, we cast our heroes. So if you see someone who is representing Comicare, whether it be Captain America showing up, or Black Widow, or Wonder Woman, or Supergirl, or Iron Man shows up. We stay in character. We're talking to the kids. We're trying to get them to forget about why they're there just for a few minutes. You walk into the room and you're just kind of looking around and trying to get some clues as to what the kid likes, and you're asking them, so who's your favorite superhero? And if you could pick one superpower, what would you pick? It's not just a look, but there's a whole package. So I'm so proud of our team. We've got a team of about 10 active heroes right now, and I think the world of all of them. Each one of them has been handpicked for that, for the reasons I just outlined. But
Well, I'll tell you, for not being a professional cosplay group of actors, you have some pretty elaborate and wonderful costumes that would rival, I think, even some big budget production films. I mean, the costumes I've seen you in as Iron Man and Doctor Strange are just next level stuff. So hats off to the heroes for doing that. How did you particularly get started with this group?
myself, I started volunteering a long time. It's been over 20 years ago. I was in Flagstaff, and at the time, I put together a Superman costume because one of my coworkers thought when I was young and pretty, they thought I looked like Dean Cain from that Lois and Clark show from back. So I put together a Superman costume and went out for Halloween, and one of my daughter's uh, teachers saw us out trick or treating with the kids, and she goes, "That's awesome. Hey, would you ever want to come by the school and read to the kids?" So I went and I brought, I found some comic books that were geared towards kids in their age, and I went and I read a few comic books to them. I was their Superman for, gosh, at least 6 or 7 years. And so they're having a Veterans Day parade out here in Anthem where I live, and they wanted an Iron Man for the float. So my friend Andy's my best friend. He had an Iron Man suit. I said, "Can I borrow your Iron Man suit?" They want an Iron Man up here. He goes, "Yeah, sure, it'd be great." And we're about the same size. So I went to go put on the suit, and everything looked great, all in red. And I called him. I said, "Is there a trick to this helmet? Because it's not even close." And he's like, "No, there's no trick. I just have a small head." He goes, just throw on some sunglasses. Hold the helmet under your arm." And from there it's just throughout the whole parade, everybody's like, "Tony, hey Tony, we love you, Tony." I was like, "Oh man, I'm never going back to Superman now."
And you're Tony, so it really worked out for you.
Yeah, it was so cool. I'm like, they know me. But so yeah, so that's where Iron Man started. And then shortly after I started doing Iron Man, things started going crazy in my life as far as the costuming goes, because people thought, "Oh, hey, there's an Iron Man. He's got the goatee and he looks a little bit like Iron." But that was when Zeph, he was the co-founder of Comicare. He had this idea for Comicare, and it was really him that came to me. So I went down there and met with him, and so he started telling me about his idea about delivering comic books to kids. And at first, we only had a couple boxes of comic books, so each kid would get a comic book and a sticker. As we grew, people started donating their whole collections to us, and we started giving out more and more comics. And now, when we go to a hospital, we have over 200,000 comic books in our storage facility. So when we give out comic books, we can give out 2 or 3,000 comic books in one visit.
So on average, how many people visit these hospitals with you, and how often do you go out to the hospitals to see the kids?
So pre-COVID, everybody starts with pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, we're doing 50 to 60 hospital visits a year.
Wow.
And then during COVID, when everything was locked down, we were doing uh, virtual visits, like I'm doing with you right now. But we were having just virtual visits, and during COVID, we were averaging about 40 virtual visits a year, which was fun. I enjoy that too.
Yeah.
And then in the last year or so, we've gotten back into the hospitals. Last year we had 34 visits, and this year we should be over 40.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of going on one of those visits with you guys a couple of years ago. I think it was 2021, and it was it was very difficult for me to not let the waterworks just flow, because seeing the kids and their reactions, and hearing the child life specialists, as you say, when they're talking about the status of some of these children who've been bedridden for an extended amount of time, and they're struggling, and they're sad, and then Wonder Woman walks in, Captain America
Sure.
walks in, or Tony Stark walks in, and it's just like they weren't even sick. They're sitting up in bed, they're talking, they're taking selfies, and I
Yeah.
get choked up just thinking about that visit. And I just got to stand in the back and watch. So
I don't know that there's any way for me to describe how it feels, other than if you're a parent and you've ever uh, had a child that's having a really like the worst day, and you're able to help them get through that day. I
mhm,
get to do that. I get to do that, you know, 20 or 30 times on every visit. So
that's
it's
cool,
uh it's good. It's nice.
awesome.
Even for the little ones, that sometimes you'll go into a room and a little kid will look at you, and they're like, they get so nervous, they get so quiet, and they're like, and you talk to them, and you leave them some comic books, and you shake their hand, take a picture with them, and you think, gosh, did they even? At first, I thought, "Oh, maybe they're just too young or whatever." Oh well, I move on to the next room. But then I started realizing when we'd come back, the child life specialist would share with us, "Hey, after you left, they didn't stop talking about you for 2 weeks. They were just all about, the visit that they got." So even the ones that seem like they're shy and quiet and don't say much to you, um, it makes a difference. It makes a big difference.
That's so awesome. How many comic books would you say you've given out since you've been with Comicare? Just ballpark number.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably a quarter million, maybe. I don't know.
Wow,
Maybe 250,000. Quite a bit, quite a bit.
that's a lot. Maybe
And
for our
that's a
next
low
debate.
estimate. That's probably a low estimate.
All right, my last
Yeah, right.
question for you,
Sure.
Tony, is, and I'm sure that there's many, many to choose from, but what is your favorite story or moment from all of your heroic adventures with the Comicare group? Not necessarily at a hospital, but just overall, what's like the defining and pivotal moment for you having worked with this group?
I I think there's thousands, but one that probably I'll never forget is I was at Maricopa Medical Center, which has a burn unit there, and we were doing a visit, and I walked in, and there was a little boy, uh, probably 5, 6 years old, covered head to toe in bandages. And I couldn't see the extent, but if he's in a burn center and he's covered in bandages, it's pretty severe. And I walked in, and he looked up, he goes, "Iron Man," and he goes, "Why are you here?" I said, I'm here to see you." And he taught, his nurse was in there with him, and I told the nurse, I says, "I want to get up, I want to get up." And so the nurse, helped him because he was hooked up to a bunch of tubes and wires, and they helped him get out of bed, and he started pretend fighting to me, like he was trying to fight me. So we were like, and I was pretending like I was shooting at him, and then I put on my helmet, and I was like going at it. I never put on the helmet, by the way. I mean, I rarely had put on a helmet. But while I was playing with him, I didn't realize that the hospital staff, the doctors, the nurses, all of the staff on the floor had gathered at the door. And turns out he and his brother had been severely burned, and he had lost his sister in a Christmas tree fire. And about a month and a half, 2 months before that, this is the first time he'd gotten out of bed.
Oh,
So I mean, and for me, driving home, I thought to myself, it made me question. I'm like, if God, why would you put a kid through this? Why just not just take him home, take him, don't put him through this. He'd lost his fingers. He just horrific. And for me, I told him I was so wrong because I kept visiting him over the years and didn't hold him back a bit. His brother was burned almost as bad as him. He still went into the military. Did great. He's made it through school. He's going on, and the family is one of the nicest families you'll ever meet. I mean, I got to go to a couple of his birthday parties after that. I was so wrong. Those are the heroes. Those are the heroes. We're not the heroes. We're dressing up like heroes, but the staff there, the kids there, they're fighting every day. Those are heroes, not us. And his name is, well, I'll never forget his name. I don't want to share. I'll keep
yeah.
that to myself, but I'll
Yeah.
never forget him. I'll never forget his family. And I'm very blessed. I'm very humbled to be even a part of their life because to me, those are some of the most heroic people I've ever met.
Well, I'll try to close this out without tearing up myself. This is it's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing the time. And I know that the measure in my eyes of a true hero is the one person who does good and does it because it's the good thing to do and takes no credit. And in my eyes, you and your entire team of heroes are just that. So the time that you spend with these children, the time that you give of yourself, the volunteering, everything that you've done, you and your team have done, is above and beyond. And I am so honored to be even a blip on the radar with this company. And as often as I can, I will advocate for you, and I will help, and our team will help with anything that you all ever need. So I'm glad that we're able to do this campaign again, and I'm hoping that we can reach our goal. and get you at least a little bit to buy some more comics, or maybe touch up the suits or whatever it is that you guys need. So God bless you and everybody that you work with, and especially to the nurses, the doctors, everybody at the hospitals that are taking care of these kids, the families, the children themselves. Like you said, all heroes, all the strength of the gods. I mean, these people are amazing and incredible. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me about this. We'll get this posted on our sites. We'll share the absolute heck out of this, and hopefully do everything that we can to just to keep the money coming in so you guys can continue to do great things.
Joel, we thank you so much, and thank you for all of your support over the years. You've been one of our most loyal donors, and you've really task force Archangel. You guys uh, you do deserve your wings. So I thank you so much for all the help and all the support you've given us, and we'll keep doing what we do. I don't even know how to respond to those type of kind words, because this is just something that we get so much, we get more out of it than the kids do. So it's hard for me to take credit for it, because it's just one of those things that the rewards are so high that when someone thanks you for it, you're like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't be thanking me. I should be thanking the parents for letting us in the rooms, thanking the child life specialists for taking time out of the day, the hospitals for allowing us to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to be thanking so many other people, but I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words, and I'm gonna go dry my eyes.
Well, to end on a quote that I'm sure you and I are both familiar with, we love you 3000, and keep up the great work, Tony. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care now.
You too. Bye bye.